Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Acts chapter 4, we have the rulers, the elders, and the scribes with Annas high priest questioning Peter and John in connection to the healing of this lame man that they had healed at the beautiful gate. And Peter is filled with the Holy Spirit and he gives this bold proclamation about Christ. And in verse 13, we see the response of these rulers. It says, "Now, as they observed the confidence of Peter and John, and they comprehended that they were uneducated and ordinary men, they were marveling and began to recognize them as having been with Jesus." They saw that these were just ordinary men. These were fishermen. They were not educated, at least not didn't have any formal education. Yet they were speaking with this confidence, this clarity, this boldness, and it was really them being with Jesus that distinguished them, and they made a connection to their confidence with them being with Jesus. And here we learn a very important principle that discipleship is better than information alone. Not that information isn't important, not that receiving a formal education, if a person is able to do so, is not helpful and useful, but that discipleship is really what distinguishes Jesus's people uh, as opposed to the rest of the world. It's when we are discipled by Christ, not just educated, not just receiving a lot of information, but being discipled by Christ. And what does it mean to be discipled by Christ? It means spending time with Christ. It means learning from Christ and obeying Christ. Those are the three main aspects of being discipled by Jesus that the apostles experienced. They had spent much time with Jesus. They walked the dusty roads with him. They slept under the night air with him. They were there with him when he did his various healings. They saw him at his best. They saw him when he was ridiculed and slandered. They were with him, and the presence of Christ was with them all the time. But they also heard the teachings of Christ, both his public teachings, but also the private teachings that he gave them. And then they also had a heart to obey him. They obeyed what he taught them. They were bought in. They jumped in both feet and plunged themselves into the teachings of Christ and submitted to his teachings. And therefore, it could be said that they were discipled by Christ. And if we want to say that we are Jesus' disciples, we must be able to say the same thing, that we spend time with Christ. That is, we spend time communion with Christ. We spend time in prayer, in meditation, in reading his word, but also in worship. We spend time with him by pulling away in times of solitude to be alone with him. But then also we hear the teachings of Christ as we read about his life and we read his teachings and we listen to the things that he taught, his parables, all these different things. We are learning from him, and in doing so, we are, in a sense, being discipled by him. But of course, none of that means anything unless we're obedient to him. We can spend all the time with Christ we want. We can read and listen to all of his teachings, but if we don't have an obedient heart, then we can't truly say that we are his disciples. We must obey what he teaches, step into what he says, build our lives upon the foundation of his teachings. Then we can truly say that we are his disciples. And that's what will distinguish us from other people in the world, even though we might be ordinary, uneducated people. Still, because we are discipled by Christ, we can speak with confidence, with clarity, with boldness on the things connected to Christ, because we spent time with Christ, because we've listened to Christ, and we obey Christ. And therefore, we can speak confidently for him as we share the gospel message to others. So let's not ever be discouraged if we don't have, a high education, or we don't have something that elevates us above other people according to worldly standards. If we're discipled by Christ, then we have the right to speak for Christ. And when we do so, we can do it confidently, boldly, and people will recognize that, oh, this is an individual who is serious about their relationship with Christ and who has spent time with Christ, and therefore that brings weight to the words that we speak. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do a reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.